Okay, let's do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of our podcast,
Push and pull.
Push and Pull. Exactly. So, let's first introduce to our audience what are we going to cover in our podcast. So, what is it about, and why did we started this? I mean, where this idea came and how it actually came to this world, and why are we starting up with all these things?
I think one of the main things that we need to mention here, there is a lack of information in our environment, in Tashkent, in Uzbekistan in general. And you and I both were in IT industry, and not in only IT industry. There are very successful entrepreneurs. There are very successful I would say business owners, mentors, and as well as young, ambitious, young entrepreneurs and startups. And also, there are some people out there that are very ambitious, but at the same time, struggling young generation who don't know basically how to get started. They don't know how to move forward, and they're just lacking on ideas. So basically, what we're doing here is trying to expose our knowledge, our experience, as well as share international or worldwide related knowledge from starting from IT industry to business and all the way to entrepreneurship. So when you and I actually came up about this idea about creating our podcast, I think the first thing that came into our minds was uh, there are no English based podcasts in Uzbekistan in general that covers IT, business, and entrepreneurship fields.
Yeah.
So that was the main motivation, I would say, to get started with this project. But at the same time, like I mentioned, we wanted to share as much information as possible to our audience, which you name it, whether they're students, whether there are business owners that are struggling without knowing where they want to move to, and whether there are startups. And our goal is to give them a direction, a bit of a motivation, and as well as share our experiences and what we've done, what we've went through, and ultimate goal is here to just help them out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I fully agree with you. And actually, I do believe that we started exactly at the time. I mean, it's the time, the ideal time to start this podcast, especially in English, because we already have a great foundation in our country. And I can list you. One of the things is currently at the current stage of economic development in our country, we have a bunch of English language instructed universities in our country. And for example, one of the institutions that both of us together, we graduated. Currently, it's MDIS, so it currently actually enrolls around, as I know, like 2 or 3 thousand students per year. So it's actually actively studying like around like 10 to 12,000 students actually studying in that institution, and it's just one institution. Actually, currently we have, I don't know, like 10 or 20 English institutions where English is the main instruction language. So, and I do believe that it's a great foundation for this specific podcast, and I do believe that it's going to be really popular among those people. And another thing is, uh, people in our country, they're really thirsty for knowledge. They want to do something. They do know that there are things happening in the world, uh, but they lack information. They don't know what to do. They don't.
Right.
They are lacking the international experience, the real world knowledge, the know-how, whatever it is, you name it. And I think we are doing that exact thing. I mean, we are filling the gap. We're filling the vacuum, and the ultimate goal is to actually help those people to move forward. To
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And you mentioned about foreign universities. There are actually expanding each year. I think when we were studying, when we graduated in 2013, I think we had only two or three international universities, if I'm not mistaken.
It was actually four, I think,
Right,
because the year when we were enrolling to the university, I think it was 2009, as I can recall it. So at that year, it was, I think, a Turin Polytechnical University that was open at exactly that year. I do remember that date, and overall we had probably like four English-speaking universities, but it was for a pretty long time.
right,
I mean, it was keeping that rate for a pretty long time, and it actually the recent developments that is happening that actually enabled
right.
the rapid expansion of English universities in our country, and
Yeah.
that's really great. That's a great trend, I would say. So
It's a great development, not only for students, but it's a great opportunity that was given from our government.
exactly.
But at the same time, we've noticed for the past few years, not only business and entrepreneurship, but we need to indicate here that IT field has been developing very rapidly.
Exactly.
And they've been putting so much pressure, so much focus on this field. They've been trying to implement foreign practices in Uzbekistan. They've been trying to even offer out outsourcing capabilities to, you name it, whether it's European companies or American companies. And I think right now it's a great time. It's a great, I would say, opportunity to share our knowledge and the experiences that we went through to our viewers, to students who'd like to actually get started in IT field, who'd like to get started whether it's a business or entrepreneurship, and they can align their goals based on our knowledge, or they can take our knowledge and experiences and they can align those with the opportunities that were given in current conditions. So I think that's a win-win from both sides.
Yeah, and actually, I just want to add one point here is that a specific characteristic of our people, and I'm telling this from the positive sense, is that our people, they just need an example, a role model, and if they see an exact example from their surrounding who did something, they can easily replicate that. They can easily start doing that. And for example, I personally saw a lot of people uh, that like so. For example, someone. I mean, just they just need an exact example. And I saw them like one of their mates became like, let's say, a software engineer, and he was like earning like $5,000 to $6,000 remotely. And at least like 3 to 5 people from his surrounding, they also became software engineers.
Right.
Yeah, and they didn't have any prerequisite for that. They didn't have any specific university degree related to computer science or software engineering, but nevertheless, nevertheless, they mastered that field, even though they didn't have a background, because they had a role model, they had an exact example, a success story, a success case, and that was enough.
Absolutely.
So I do believe that we can be that role model and example who can show to our people what is possible and how the current world is actually borderless world.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you, and that was the main reason why we actually came up with this project, with this idea. Before we actually move forward, I think we actually need to mention about name of our podcast. I think it was a quite interesting story. It took some time for us to come up with this naming, and we had several options, and we couldn't choose. We couldn't pick which one should be the one. And I think we finally decided that we're gonna go with push and pull. And so I think people will have a question why, push and pull. Why you guys picked this specific name? What shall we answer?
Well, I think that's the term most of the people in tech can relate to and can understand. I mean, because that's one of the the most frequently used words that professionals in the tech industry use daily. I would say. I mean, like probably several times a day. I mean, take the pull or do the push, and it's related to a Git versioning system where you like update your code or take the updates from the code that was done by your fellow like co-engineers, etc. So and that's why I think it would be like a really relatable and effective way to describe our podcast. And this way, we are emphasizing that we are related to entrepreneurship and like tech industry in general. So
Yeah, this can relate not only to tech, this can relate also to entrepreneurship, business, and overall, it's very common naming within those fields. And I think it's
exactly.
pretty unique, don't you think?
Yeah, I do think. But also, we need to mention from what was the source of inspiration for this as well. I mean, yeah, of course, it's we were trying to pick a term from the related field. I mean, from entrepreneurship, from tech, but also one of the reasons was that recently we participated in one of the really greatest events that happened in Uzbekistan. I mean, in the tech industry of Uzbekistan, which is a plug and play conference. It was really awesome. I mean, when both of us we visited this event, this expo. I mean, I can just personally say that I was really filled with energy, and I saw the scale. I saw the young entrepreneurs. I mean, really young. I mean, they're just like 20-year-old kids, and they were making really awesome products. They were making already startups. They were getting the funding. I was fascinated with what I saw, and actually, this name, plug and play,
Yeah,
it actually clicked. You know.
that was kind of a foundation for what we picked, right? So initially we were thinking about this project for some time, and we've had you know test episodes, and we've tried several episodes in the beginning. But like you mentioned, when we attended plug and play events, and we actually uh, presented our startup as well there, right? So the whole idea, the opportunity that was brought in to Uzbekistan, and it's actually the first event by Plug and Play. They, if I'm not mistaken, they came in last October, but the actual acceleration started last year. But official event by Plug and Play was this year, and the amount of interest and amount of the emotions were present in that event was unexplainable. And I've noticed there were so many ambitious, very creative young individuals, and they were so hungry, motivated, and they had their brilliant ideas, startups, and they were presenting them with fire on their eyes. And seeing that is, I was so amazed. I was so fascinated, and the whole experience was so incredible. And I think this will take another level as we move forward, and the scale and the inspiration that's coming from events like that is gonna just go all over the country, and people will get even more interested in such events. But to go back to our topic, it's actually how we decided to pick PNP,
Yeah.
and I think that they came up as pretty as a pretty cool idea. And I think at this point, shall we introduce ourselves and talk about who we are? And I'm sure not that many people know about us. There are.
Yeah, probably yes. I mean, I think the audience already like getting interested. Like, I don't know. I'm already listening to these guys for the last 15 years, 15 minutes, and I don't know who they are.
Yeah,
They didn't even.
exactly. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that was the point.
exactly.
And there are so many podcasts, excuse me, out there, and our uniqueness here is basically that we're trying to focus to begin with on English, but at the same time, we're trying to share as much knowledge as possible from not only IT field, from business and entrepreneurship side. And I think that would be great to give them that information about ourselves and who we are, how we started, and what was our story, and basically we can call it the story of our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you'll start and I will continue.
Sure, of course. I think our our journey started like, I mean, both of our journey started back in 2009 when we enrolled and entered the university. I mean, we studied in the same university as I already mentioned before. It was like MDIS, Management Development Institute of Singapore, which was actually a really great experience. I mean, when I first came to this institute, I was like, I came to a completely different world because, especially at those times, it was like 2009, and the popularity of English wasn't that widespread like we have today. And I do remember when I was entering the university, it was like, yeah, you need to pass you need to take the IELTS test, and yeah, it's today like you need to book, and it's like a pretty big road there.
Right.
When you need to go in to take the test. I mean, it takes time even to get into that place. But those times when I went to British Council to take the IELTS test, it was like, I don't know, it was really too few amount of people, a number of people taking the test. But in any case, I did it, so I entered. That was really great experience. I was able to actually practice my English because
Right.
yeah, and that was one of the main things actually that benefited my life. We had a lot of professors there from different countries, from United States, from Philippines, from Indonesia, India, you name it.
That was very diverse team
It was
back
really
then.
it
Yeah.
was really diverse, and I really like that because you get introduced to different cultures, and you actually start accepting people, and you like start accepting the fact that the world is not just limited with your country, with your city, with where you live. It wasn't just students from Uzbekistan. Yeah, of course, most of the students were from Uzbekistan, but we also had students from different other countries. I remember people from Azerbaijan. We remember students from
Yeah.
Indonesia and some other
There were
countries.
some.
There were some,
There were some.
and we actually became really great friends with them. And yeah, it actually helped me to grow, to understand about the world. Yeah, so and my field was business computing, so it's related to IT, to the tech industry. So from that time, and I need to mention that I was able to get a scholarship in this institution, so I studied based on the scholarship basis. Uh, but during my studies in the university, I do remember I was like, I had a goal. I need to get. I need to. I want to earn money online. I don't know. This idea just stick into my mind that I was trying to find all of all the possible ways to do this.
Right.
And yeah, the first year, the foundation year in the university, I actually couldn't find anything there, but I was doing a lot of research on the internet. It was a very great experience. But then one day, I actually when I went to year one, it's actually the in fact it's year two, but it's like after the foundation year. Uh, I saw a guy. I saw a guy. I think you know him as well. So it's one of our friends from the parallel groups. It's Oybek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
We
hi,
used to call him. We used to call him IT guy.
IT guy.
Tall IT guy.
Yeah. So I actually really appreciate this guy. He's the one. He's one of the few people who actually played a great role in my life, even though he doesn't know about that. But the very fact that he's an example. So just
Yeah.
talking about the examples
Yes.
that I mentioned before. So he was a real great example for me because at that specific time, I mean, we were like 21-year-old guys, and he was already planning to buy a really cool car there. I heard about that, and I was like, what this guy does. I mean,
Yeah, right.
how he was able to buy himself a car at that time. And they told me that he's a software engineer, he's a software developer, and he actually works for U.S. companies or European companies. I don't really remember that. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. And after that, it was really fortunate for me that we actually studied together in the same group.
Yeah.
And I asked him, man, what are you doing for a living? I mean, how are you doing that? And what should I do? Just teach me. And of course, I mean, software developers, they're pretty busy guys and they don't have any time to teach. But he gave me useful tips. I mean, like he told me that just start from this and that. And I was like, hey, man, I completed what you did in just a week. And he was like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, then do this. And I actually did another thing as well, and I do know that he was like, he was like, okay, you need to find a job, you know.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah, but at that time, I was actually also fortunate to land a job. I saw a post in our university group in Facebook from one of the guys. He actually right now works, as I know, if nothing has changed, he actually works in Apple right now in California. He's, maybe you also know, he's Jahongir. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So I actually saw a post from him that there are open vacancies in the company that he works, and it was like data side technologies. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna apply for that job. And I gave a CV. So I wanted to become a software developer, but of course I didn't have any expertise. I didn't have any knowledge. So basically they just landed me to. I actually got a job. So I emailed them my CV, and exactly the day after, I got a call from them inviting me for the interview, and yeah, so I came to the interview. But they hired me, but my job was related to data entry. But after a month, I was like, I want some other job. Just I want some
Yeah.
more.
Well, that was a starting point.
That was a starting point,
Right.
but I asked for more qualified jobs. So then I led it to marketing team. It was like SEO and some this kind of stuff, online marketing stuff. It was really a great experience. But what I do really like about this company is I actually was exposed to tech industry. I mean, how it works. I mean, I saw in real practice. I saw that we live in a borderless society right now. At this point of a progress of humanity, how is that possible? I mean, so far I was like I was really limited in my mind. I mean, I live in Uzbekistan, in my city, in my hometown, the home city that I was born in, Tashkent, and I couldn't even imagine that a group of guys sitting here in Uzbekistan can create a software product, an ERP system, for which they have clients around the world, starting from, I mean, Japan, Philippines. So the geography was pretty expanded, like Philippines, Brazil, Mexico. They had clients everywhere.
That's
And
inspirational.
that's really inspirational. And the only thing they had, a group of team of software engineers and a marketing team who actually does all the marketing, just doing some Google ads, having the sales team who closes the deals. It was really inspirational. And yeah, the founder of this company, Muzaffar Aka, actually he's another guy who actually played a really great role, and I really appreciate for him because the company that he created was a really great example for me. I mean, how things can be done
Right.
in this industry, how beautiful this industry is, and how this industry democratize a lot of things in the lives of people. I really appreciate him. Just taking this time, I just want to thank him, and I actually, honestly, I just want to apologize from Muzafaraka because I was young, and I cannot tell that I was very smart enough at that time, and leaving the company wasn't done in a good way as it should be. So
Well, I think we all went through situations like that
yeah, I
throughout
really
our experiences.
exactly. I really respect this guy. I really respect this man, and taking this opportunity, I want to apologize from him for
So
this.
he was actually one of your mentors.
Yeah, I can tell for sure for a 100% yes, because I mean, it was for me it was enough that he actually created this company because I saw how things can be done, and from that point, so I was 100% confident that that's the industry I want to work in. After my experience with DataSide, I graduated, but I had a contract obligations because I mentioned I was studying on a scholarship basis. So I worked for 3 years in a management position in a local airline company. I mean, national airline company. They were the sponsor for my scholarship, so I had this obligation, and it was really great experience for me as well because I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I was responsible for organizing a charter cargo flights. Just imagine you have the whole plane dedicated for transportation of cargo. You have like 40 to 50 tons of useful payload that you can transport between different cities. And I was responsible for organizing the whole process from the very beginning to the end of these charter flights for different customers, starting from the relationships with the customers. And I really appreciate the team behind this Uzbekistan Airways. But as I mentioned, that wasn't mine thing. So I already decided that the tech industry is the way to go, is the thing that I will be working and dedicating my life to. And it was actually fortunate for me because one of my friends that I met in DataSide, he actually invited me to one of the Swedish startups, and from there I actually started up my real, actual tech career, and I learned a lot in this company because I mean, you learn software development in practice. I mean, I can tell you that there are no other ways to learn. I mean, when you learn theory, you don't know why this theory is applied to, what kind of problem it solves. But when you see these things in practice, you grow. And that actually what happened with me with this Swedish startup. And after that, different projects came. I mean, I was growing in experience. I mean, I was integrating different technologies to my knowledge stack, I would tell. I used to work with other European companies, some U.S. companies as well. I had some local projects, and year by year, until current times that we're sitting and talking with you, I was able to. I managed to grow as actually to architect and CTO level, and currently I am able to create projects from scratch, design the architecture. I mean, predict possible,
Just build everything.
build everything, and be responsible for the whole software development processes and production processes. I mean, whatever is related to software development. I mean, at the
From scratch all the way to the final product.
to the final product exactly. So that's
That's how you got in. That's how actually you went through this several years of your life, and the reason that you actually got started in tech industry was actually one of your or one of our
yes,
mutual friends, actually Oybek,
exactly.
and from that point you actually move forward, and now you're here as
Yeah,
a very experienced architect level software developer.
exactly. And yeah, I just want to appreciate him again. This guy, he's actually right now in Dubai. He's doing really successful projects, and yeah, maybe he doesn't know, but he played a really crucial role in my life.
Very, very, very nice. Such a inspirational story, and the amount of emotions that while you were describing your experiences were quite fun to watch, actually.
Yeah.
And I was when it comes to my story, so I got enrolled to academic lyceum under Tashkent University of Information Technologies, and the person who inspired me, who pushed me to get started in IT industry was his name was Lochimbek Shodiev,
Oh,
and
I know this guy. He
yeah,
actually
he's our mutual friend.
yeah, I actually know this guy from DataSide because he was a CDO there.
Right.
He was actually managing this ERP system that they're developing.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
at the very beginnings.
But back then, when I was studying in academic lyceum under Tashkent University of Information Technology. So he was my mentor. He was actually the person who basically gave me a direction, and he was basically my IT teacher back then, and he used to study in Westminster University while he was teaching in our academic lyceum, and he gave me a suggestion, actually saying that pick IT. There's a tremendous growth. There's a tremendous potential, and there's so much work that needs to be done, and it will outgrow itself, and you will be in such a nice spot for your future. So after that, I picked MDIS, and because based on the information I had, that Bradford is supposed to be opening up their faculty in IT. So I got enrolled to MDIS, and after I graduated, after we finished our foundation year, then, as you remember, we had to pick our major. So my first choice was IT, but for some reason, I think I got inspired by stories, the people going to America, migrating to America, and they were working for different companies, in managerial level, you name it, hotels or companies, and they were working. Several people were working as managers in those companies. So I switched my major from IT to international business and management. There was a faculty under Australian University back then.
I think it was Southern Cross University, right?
Yes, Southern Cross, and they were actually focusing on multiple areas, including international business, hospitality, and management. So that major and that university actually helped me out to move forward and migrate to the United States. And I actually gained some experience in the same field. I've worked as a manager for different companies, including hotels, including small to large scale companies. I've gained some managerial experience as well as business experience, but I still had this intention, this interest in me that I still want to go back to IT field. And there were a couple guys actually who helped me out, who mentored and taught me, and they gave me an opportunity to choose the right path, and I was able to get back to IT field. There were guys. Adam Hamroyev, he's one of the brilliant architects in data field. Uh, very creative, very brilliant guy. He's a genius, and he was the one of the guys who showed me the direction to this field. And also, there were a couple guys such as Arslan Kalandarov. He is very experienced in business and also in IT field as well. And they have their own company in the United States. But ever since, for the past several years, I've been in business intelligence and data engineering field, and
Cool.
working for different companies in the US. I'm actually very thrilled and honored that I was able to work and gain an experience by working for Google from
Wow.
2021 to 2023, and that experience was tremendous, and it was incredible. I've gained so much knowledge. I've gained so much creativity. I've met like-minded, brilliant people within that company, within that organization. And currently, actually, I work for also Washington-based company called Blueprint Technologies as a business intelligence developer. And to be honest, it's such a growing field. In America, it's already had a great potential, and uh, many Fortune 500 companies, whether they're small to mid-scale or large enterprises, they all implemented BI systems within their environment. And I think, as you also know, this field is kind of getting into Uzbekistan slowly. Not that many people, not that many companies know about it, but there are some. who've implemented it slowly but surely, and there've been growth in terms of interest for this field. So basically, that's how I got into IT industry, and that's how my experience been for the past several years in this field. But I think we can relate to each other
Of course.
from experience standpoint.
Yeah, and I just actually wanted to ask you, so you are in the you are BI engineer, so you're data engineer in the business intelligence. When did you started that? When did you transfer to this field?
Right around 2018.
2018.
Yes, I started fully focusing on BI field right around that area.
So in like 5 years, you managed to become a very senior architect level BI engineer. Is that correct?
It's still evolving period, I would say, but also at the same time, I want to say I don't want to be in that. I don't want to say that I'm in architect level
Hmm.
just yet. There is still a tremendous opportunity for growth, a gap that still need to be passed, right? But yeah, for the past year, for the past 5 years, I've been actively working in this field. But before business intelligence, as you know, BI starts off as a business analytics, and then you switch to business intelligence, or the starting point of BI is actually business intelligence,
Yeah.
business analytics, and then it moves towards business intelligence, data engineering, data science, and etc. But yeah, to answer your question, it's been ever since 2018.
Well, that's great. Another thing that I want to ask you, not ask, but you made a point about the BI entering to the market of Uzbekistan, and actually from just a case in point from one of the meetings that we had together, a business meeting with potential partners, they mentioned that the implementation of BI technologies in some of the cases they have in our local market actually made an impact,
Hmm.
uh, and their sales levels actually grew like 2.5 times. That's like 150%.
Right.
That's really, I mean, that's really enormous and amazing numbers. And I just wanted to point out how the intelligence, how the analyzing the data and seeing the things, how your business actually performs,
Right.
helps you to grow. And that was really great case, and I was really happy to hear that it's actually being done right now in Uzbekistan.
Actually, we've had a meeting other day
Yes.
where we both attended, and seeing that companies actually are slowly but surely understanding the process of BI. They know the implementation and they know how beneficial it could be for their company is great, and it opens up new doors, new possibilities, not for companies alone, but for
Hmm.
developers as us. And I think it's a great time to be in not only in BI field, but overall in Uzbekistan's IT environment.
And I can tell you, not only in IT environment, but overall. I mean, our economy was in a sleeping state
Right.
for pretty long, long amount of time, for many years. And now I actually can witness what's going on in the market, what's going on in the different industry. It's not just tech industry that facing these kind of changes right now. It's actually any, just pick any industry in our country. It actually experiencing a real growth,
Right.
and you can actually visually see that on the streets. And I mean, based on everything that's going on, I mean, I can just give you an example of just like for horeca industry, for example. I mean, the cafes. Look at the cafes. I mean, they are all filled out, and every day some new cafe or restaurant is being opened there.
Totally.
In the city of Tashkent. So, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I really fascinated to see what's going to happen in the next 10 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's unimaginable. I think we will see such a incredible growth, and I cannot wait to see the changes each year. And I think it will be so much fun to watch the progress, and at the same time to get involved within the progress.
Yes, actually, to be a part of all of these processes that happen in our country. I think it's really great feeling when you see that you are part of something really big.
Definitely.
Uh,
So, in that regard, I would say so. Current young entrepreneurs, or not even entrepreneurs, or the people who'd like to get started, or people who just want to put their first step, they want to take their first step. Uh, what do you think? What's their the most struggling area to get started? Why so many people are afraid to get started? Not only in entrepreneurship or in any field, that they can become a manager, they can become the marketing specialist or IT developer or start their own business. But there are ambitious people, person who basically they've been struggling to get started with their career. What do you think? What's the main reason for them to for their struggles?
well, I think everybody has a dream. I mean, anyone has a dream of becoming someone who's really successful. I mean, just pick any industry. It doesn't matter in what industry, but it depends on the dream of a person. But the final destination is to be successful in that specific field. Uh, I hear a lot of people, especially, um, a lot of people come to me and ask. I want to be a software developer as well. I mean, if I will give my example, right? Uh, they really see the potential in this job, in this industry, but the common pattern that I can see is that they are uninformed.
Hmm.
They don't know anything. They
Right.
don't have any roadmap. They don't have anyone to show how things to be done in what they want. They don't have any role models. They don't have a real world examples that actually realized, that actually made come true what they are dreaming about. Because when you see, let's say, a markets of the developed countries like I don't know, Europe or the United States or Canada, the whole country is filled with examples,
Hmm.
filled with real world cases,
Right.
real examples, real people. They are everywhere in the media, in the television, you name it, everywhere. And and a young person from the very young age, he actually knows what he wants to do. Of course, I cannot tell for everybody in those countries. I'm just talking about the relativity. I mean, relatively to our country, there is a bigger proportion of people who actually know what they want in their life, who they want to be, and they know exact path
Right.
that they need to go through to become successful in the field that they want to pick. But when it comes to our country, I mean, people don't know the options. People don't know that they have actually a really big number of enormous possibilities that they can actually implement and realize in their lives.
So, do you think it's because of lack of knowledge and information for the most part?
I think yes, because unfortunately, for example, most of the population, I mean, Uzbek people, they are really hardworking when they see a clear path. I mean, it's unimaginable. It's unimaginable levels of workability and durability, I can
Right.
say. I mean, it's really incredible. People really manage to work a lot, and yeah, that that's really amazing. But unfortunately, a lot of information is not available in Uzbek,
And
and it's actually lacking a lot of things. And as a result, they don't know what to do.
okay, so I've had friends, people who came up to me and they had a will. I don't want to say they had an idea. So they're like, hey, let's open up a business. Let's create a project. And I'm like, yeah, what do you have? Do you have an idea? I don't know. And then I asked, do you have a business plan? Do you have a strategy? Do you at least know what do you want to do? Do you have an idea itself? And they're like, no, I just want to have a business. I want to create something. And my first question is go do your research and come back with a business plan and let's take a look. And if it's solid business plan that we can actually implement, then why not? Let's try it out. And they do. They go back. They do their research, and a week after you talk to them, they're like, I still not sure in what area I need to open up my business. Okay, do you at least have an idea? And most of people they just want to get started, but they don't even know what they want to do. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, I've had many moments. There were so many disappointments where I just wanted to involve people in several projects, whether as a partner, whether as a coworker, and etc. For in many situations, people, especially here, they have a lack of motivation. They do think that after the first struggle, after the first obstacle, they think that it's not for them. I think they have a tendency to give up. They have a tendency to not to go, not to move forward. So that's the main thing I've dealt with here. I've tried to create several projects in the past, and I've noticed that people in our environment, in our country, the minute they start going through certain obstacles and they're not sure where they're going, they're done. They just give up, and no matter in what stage your project is at, they just leave. They quit.
I think it's related to, from my observation, that I saw during these years is that most people they are short-term minded,
Right.
so they don't plan things. I mean, planning, this word itself is a nonsense in our environment.
It's a new area for us.
Yeah, unfortunately, and we don't have any long-term planning in lives in lives of people. People tend to mostly plan shortly, and it's actually related to business as well. Because if you look to most of the businesses, they are like they invest with taking back their investment with a pretty high ROI in a very short period of time. I mean, maximum 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years. It's a wow, like 3 years. Um, and it's a result of this short-term mindedness, and that is why I think that's the reason why we don't have a really great and awesome companies that are actually from Uzbekistan, based in Uzbekistan, from Uzbekistan, because of this mindset, we were not able to create those companies. Of course, it's not related to a really fascinating and amazing companies we do have, but I'm just talking about the proportions. I'm just talking about the numbers. Yeah, that's unfortunate situation we have.
And what do you think about they get started with the project, with the idea, but they just don't move forward and just stop on the first step, dedication,
Yes,
right? So many. The business itself is not easy. Starting anything is not easy. There are obstacles. There are moments that puts you down, lets you down, and kills your motivation. It happens in any industry, whether you're starting a business, whether you're getting into new field of business, whether it's IT, whether it's finance, you name it. So the dedication, that which is the most important aspect of your success, is the one that's lacking within our community, within our people.
exactly.
And also, it's typical case scenario. So you just go to the gym and you see you take a look at yourself at the mirror, and after the first session of your training, you see basically nothing,
Yeah,
and you do the same thing. You go back to the gym for the second time, and you're not seeing any results. And that's where dedication and determination comes in, right? So if you actually know your purpose, if you are actually going to the trying to achieve the ultimate result, then first couple failures are not obstacle for you. So they're just a learning curve, right?
Yeah, and I just want to make addition here at this point is that when you have a specific goal, when you want to achieve something, you don't need to think about result at the very beginning, even at the middle of the thing. A result should be something that is surprise for you after a time of dedication that you invested to a specific thing. So what I want to say is that you need to enjoy the process. You need to enjoy the process. You just need to do whatever is related to you, and I will guarantee after a specific after a specific time passed, you will see the result. That's definitely. And after that, you're going to be really motivated, and that will push you even more forward. I mean, let's say if you learn to love the process, to be in the process, that's the first motivation and inspiration for you. And after that, when you get the result, that even like 10x to your inspiration.
Exactly, yeah.
And of course, you're going to get even more results. I mean, the success brings success.
Right.
But in order to get the first success, you need to go through the process and don't expect the result at the very beginning, even at the middle of the process. That's for sure. I mean, many great companies, and I mean, in any field, it doesn't matter if it is a creation of the company or becoming a specialist or professional in a specific field, it takes time. I remember when I was like 12 years old, probably. Yeah, I used to have a musical education. I actually played guitar.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
now you know it. So
That's one of your hidden secrets.
exactly. But you know what? I used to have this guitar in my home for many years. I mean, my father used to play guitar, and that's why we had it in my home. So, and one day I decided I just want to play it, and I was really interested in that. I was really I was really getting satisfaction from the process of learning. I didn't have any great results at the beginning, but when after a year I was able to play a pretty long music there, that was wow. That was a really that thing that motivated and inspired me to go even further and learn some other even more sophisticated music there. So
So that was the ultimate reward.
exactly. But before that, you need to learn to love the process.
Enjoy the process. That's
Enjoy the
that's
process.
actually a great point. So I have an analogy, and it's related to hiking, right? So, and love outdoors. I love photography, and I love mountains and waterfalls, and you name it. So there are two types of hikers. So the one that they're easygoing. They just want get to the place, take pictures, and come back and just show off. Hey, I've been there. And the second type is those are the people who actually want to enjoy every single step, every single mile, because they know the ultimate goal is to reach that waterfall, and they know that there is a waterfall at the end, but the path until you get there could be unknown. You don't know what you're going through, and you don't know how hard it could be. But the beauty of it is that the process itself is fun, it's inspirational, and while you're going through each mile, you're learning something. You're observing your surroundings. You get to, I don't know, see some animals or
You're absorbing all of these experiences that you
right.
see. I mean, wow.
And when you go through, let's say it's a 7 mile hike, and you go through those, you went through those 7 miles, and at the end, beautiful waterfall and the valley is waiting for you. That's when you start appreciating the whole process at the same time, the ultimate, the destination you got to. And I think that's the most important item while you're trying to get into the uh, success, right? So, like you mentioned, the process is the most important item in this process.
Yeah, so you don't need to look at the process as something like a punishment. Yeah, it's like okay, I will need to just, uh, I need to wait and everything's going to be fine after that. No, I mean, you need to enjoy the process part itself too. So why not? Why should you suffer from that?
Right.
Just enjoy it. And that's it. I mean, it's going to be even more, after you get the result, it's going to be even more better.
As long as you're having fun, as long as you're enjoying it.
Exactly.
That's the most important part. And what do you say about so there are especially students in our community, and the topic of uh, being in IT field, the topic of just being a developer is in a trend, and it's a very trending. It's a very hot topic. There are education centers, there are courses, whether it's online and offline, and there are so many students that are trying to learn and trying to get into this field. Uh, but the ultimate result is very low. If you take a look at the numbers, there are not that many successful developers out there. There are not that many young developers that landed jobs opportunities from foreign companies. So, what do you think what they should do, or what kind of strategies they should implement, and what kind of approaches they should implement to get to the same success levels, let's say, you got into?
Well, it's actually a combination of the things. I mean, the combination of base knowledge that you already have, and the combination of your, I mean, persistence and how you can push the things till the end. But I can tell you that unfortunately, I can tell I can tell right now is that not everyone is going to be a software developer. Not everyone can be a software developer. Yeah, of course, there are, let's say, there are 100 of, let's say, there are a pool of 100 people who want to be a software developers, but I can tell you that just 10% of them, just 10 people, they are going to be software developers because of the combination that I mentioned. And like our Uzbek people have this word like five fingers are not equal, or
Right, right.
how can we translate that? Not everyone is the same, and not everyone has these kind of combinations. And it's actually relatable to any field. I mean, you name it, like agriculture, finance, whatever. Just 10% usually people get succeed in those fields, in any of the field. And the same law, the same principle is same with the tech industry as well. And one of the things that makes this even more difficult is that even though we do have a vast amount of information on the internet that is available to learn the software development, but still it's actually a very big amount of information and technical information that should be processed in order to get into this field, especially today. So back then, like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, to land a job in the tech industry was, I mean, it was just enough to know HTML, CSS, and I don't know
It
some,
was relatively easy,
yeah,
right?
I don't know, some scripting language, let's say a PHP or something like that, and that's it. You're in the job, and the rest of the thing, and the rest is the story. I mean, you learn in the process. But right now, look at the job descriptions to the juniors. I mean, to the internship positions where they don't even pay you a penny. They like ask you not just the base understanding of the language. I mean, it's just PHP or JavaScript, whatever it is. They also ask you like, do you know these front end technologies? I don't know, maybe Angular or React, whatever. Do you know what back end technologies, Express.js or some other things? And plus, do you know how to work in the Scrum environment with the agile methodologies? Do you know how to work within the Jira and Atlassian software suite and ecosystem? I mean, it's a pretty lot of things before you actually land a job. So that's why it's even more complicated today, unfortunately. And that's why I need to mention that not everyone can be a developer, and the statistics tells a lot. I mean, it's just a 10%, maybe even less.
Right.
And another factor, specifically in our country, uh, yeah, people, they are really motivated. They want to be software developers. It's a trend. Uh, but they actually lack a very basic knowledge. I mean, they don't even know how to work with a computer, unfortunately. And I mean, that's a must prerequisite before you actually think about software development, before actually thinking about becoming a software developer. And the third thing is that most of the people they uh, get interested in the tech industry in software development just only and only because of the money. Yeah, of course, money is important. I mean, all of us, we master a specific profession with the ultimate goal eventually to become a professionals and earn money, etc. But the factor of loving your job is also a really great factor. I mean, without it, especially in the technical fields where there's a lot of things are involved in order to do your job. I
I
mean,
think
professionally.
it's even more important than the money part. If you don't love your job, I don't think you will be
Yeah.
sticking around there for too long.
Yeah, because if you just care about the money, I mean, the learning curve for IT, for tech, is pretty long. I mean, it takes like 2 or 3 years before you even start to understand what's going on there, especially in the current environment that's happening today. And the guy who has just money in his mind, he cannot just stand, he cannot bet for so long time. And all the time he will be disrupted by this idea. I don't get the money. I don't get the money. I don't get the money. When I'm going to get the money?
Right.
And as a result, he will just drop out. And I saw a lot of examples of this happening. And that's why I just always warn people from the very start about all these things.
And
So,
again, we're going back to the previous topic, the process. So they,
yes,
without even enjoying, without even going through that process, they're already shouting or focusing on the ultimate result. But
yeah,
without the process, without the starting point, without the beginner steps, you won't be able to reach your ultimate goal, which is the money for most of them.
exactly.
But at the same time, another question pops up. Um, these days, the technology is evolving rapidly. It's growing day to day, and it's so hard to catch up sometimes. What do you think? How important is the business knowledge, language, and the combination of the trends in modern technology?
So, you mean if you want to become a professional in this field,
Right.
how the business knowledge and all the things
Yeah.
are important? Well, many people tend to think that software developers, people in tech, they're mostly like introverted, like nerds, let's say, who like the communication. And for the most of the part, that may be true. But if we are talking about the person who want to succeed in this industry, it's a must. It's a must to know business. It's a must to have a really great communication skills. And when I say communication skills, I'm not talking about the knowledge of the language. I mean, to know the English or to know the Russian language. No, it's not about that. You may know English, you may know Russian, but you may not communicate well. So these things and these terms are not equal. So communication skills are really important, especially in the tech industry, because you need to process and you need to talk with a really great number of people. Doesn't matter if it's like external or internal stakeholders, your teammates, whatever it is. Because to build up a software product, you need a really big team. I mean, hundreds of people.
Right.
It's not just software developers. It's like analysts, it's product managers, business analysts, whatever, QA, etc. And you have customers that you need to understand their needs. And here we link these things to the business knowledge because in most of the part, like for 95% of the cases, tech industry solves mostly business related problems. So tech provides, makes businesses more efficient, more effective, helps them to work faster, etc. So it's like daily business problems that tech solves, optimizes, etc. And of course, to implement all these things, you need to be aware, of course, at least the basic knowledge of business, and of course, a really great communication skills. Of course, you can be an average. Um, you can have your life, you can have a decent amount of money and salary if you're experienced one, but you're going to be the average one.
Right.
And I'm talking about the exceptional ones that succeed in this in the industry. So the communication is the key, and the business knowledge, of course.
I agree. Yeah, especially I think both of us we know if you are working for European or American or foreign companies, uh, the way how you present yourself, the way how you present your project, the way how you're communicating the roadblocks, the items that you're struggling with or your team is struggling with, the deliverables that whether you're giving them an update in weekly basis or in daily basis, that actually defines the your level of your success within that project. At the same time, how properly you're moving forward, and they appreciate the transparency in communication. They appreciate the honesty and as well as you laying out the steps to take in order to complete this project. And without proper communication, for the most part, I've seen so many projects that weren't being done or they ultimately weren't being completed because of the communication, because your client loses its trust, and there is no motivation to move forward and continue with the project. And at the same time, they start thinking that you lack of knowledge and you just don't have the needed expertise to continue with the project. So for the most part, in many scenarios, companies lose their projects due to fact that they're not able to present the project and as well as the roadblocks they're facing properly. And ultimate communication, I think, is the key.
All right, so we have a blitz. Okay, so we have a list of 20 questions, and you need to answer as short as possible. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is morning person or night owl?
Night owl. What about you?
Uh, I'm a night owl, but right now I'm transitioning to a morning person.
Got it.
So the second question, favorite childhood memory?
Uh, I was 7 years old. I got lost in the center of Tashkent, and I had to walk back to my house because I had no money for transportation, and it took me 7 hours to get back from where I was to my house. And I'm gonna ask the same question.
Oh well, really, really difficult question. I cannot recall right now, but uh, maybe the times when I was like walking along a lot along the city because I was really getting a pleasure on that. So,
All
so
right.
the next one, most used emoji on your phone.
Oh, thumbs up.
Okay,
Definitely thumbs up. What about you?
I think this a smile with his tears. You
Oh, okay.
know, I think it's
That's a lot of positivity happening.
yeah, exactly. Favorite type of music to relax to?
To relax to. Actually, when I want to relax, I would say Andrea Bocelli.
Oh,
I usually just play him on, and if I really want to relax, but otherwise, for the most part, I like to dance and put something different. What about you?
well, I like different types of music, and actually, I love a lot of genres. But when I want to relax, I listen to Lana Del Rey.
Okay.
Yeah. So next question: a skill you wish you had but don't.
Okay. I would say teleport.
Oh, that's great.
What about you?
Uh, be able to fly.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a nice one.
okay. Last book you read for pleasure.
For pleasure. So I've been reading this book. Actually, I am in the middle of it. The Limitless by Jim Quick, and he came up with this concept of changing your behavior, your lifestyle by changing your mindset. And he actually experienced the steps that he took by throughout his life because I believe he had some brain issues when he was a kid. And he came up later on in his life, he came up with this book and concepts of controlling your mind, controlling your lifestyle, and at the same time, by changing your the way how you think, changing your mentality, you're basically changing your whole life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm currently reading.
All right. Great.
And what about you?
Well, actually, I'm right now reading a book called Freedom by Daniel Suarez. Really interesting one.
All right.
I think I will introduce that
I would love to read that.
in some next episodes of our podcast.
Awesome.
So, hidden talent or hobby people might not know about.
Uh, I like photography. I don't know that many people know about it. I've been working on my travel page on Instagram, so I think the photography that's the closest that comes to my mind that not that many people know. Uh, kind of hidden talent.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think you already right now in this podcast you got know about that about the talent and you didn't know.
The playing a guitar.
Yeah, I'm playing the guitar, so I don't think that many people know that. So
Yeah, I did not know that either.
yeah, so now you know.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows. What is your comfort food?
Comfort food. I would say soup. What about yours?
Anything that is tasty. I mean, that has some meat.
Any food is
Any,
comfort food.
I mean, it should have meat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I cannot eat food without meat.
Meat.
Yeah. So dream travel destination for a personal vacation.
Oh, I have several, but I think I would pick Switzerland. That would be my number one at this point.
I think our preferences are aligned at that specific question because it's a dream place
Such a great destination.
so the same for me
Yeah.
actually. So one word to describe yourself.
I would say positive.
Great.
What about you?
Realistic.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I think if I could stop the time,
Whoa.
that would be the ideal superpower I would like to have.
Oh, well, that's great. And what about me? Well, actually, there's so many possible superpowers. Actually, it's really
But if you get to pick one, which one you would
um,
pick?
well. I already mentioned that I want to fly. I think it's a superpower, but within the context of this question, let's say to be invisible when I
Ooh,
want.
that's a good one.
Be visible, invisible. Just being able to toggle this. So, we continue with our questions. One piece of advice you would give your younger self.
Don't waste your time, meaning value your time and enjoy every single moment of your life.
Awesome.
And what kind of advice would you give?
I think never listen to others. You have all the answers in yourself.
That's a good one.
Okay, the next question is a quote or mantra that inspires you in life.
Uh, so Albert Einstein has a quote: "You don't fail until you quit." So that is the inspirational quote that keeps me moving. And what would you say?
Uh, I don't say it's a quote, but a title of the book by Donald Trump.
Okay,
So never give up.
never give up. That's a good one.
Yep. So that's the end of our blitz questions. And
I think we can officially wrap our first episode of our podcast. And I think, shall we discuss the upcoming topics of our podcast and as well as the future plans?
Yeah, of course. Mostly, so since this podcast episode was mostly like introductions of who we are and what we do and why we created this podcast, etc. So it was mostly like informative episode. I would tell, but for the most of the time, I can say every single podcast episode that we will be doing in the future will involve guest speakers. So we will be having someone who is from the tech industry or someone who is entrepreneur, have some really successful case that he did. So we're gonna show that. We're gonna interview those people, and we hope that's going to be really valuable to our audience and they can extract something really useful and practical for their life and for their decisions. So basically that's how we're going to handle the future episodes.
Yeah, this one it was an introduction and just to give our audience an exposure to our future projects or to our future episodes. So as of next episodes, we will be bringing new guests. Each episode will cover different topics, different interesting materials. Also, as we move forward, we will evolve and improve our podcast, and we'll be adding much more interesting topics and additional information that would be more useful for our end users.
Yep. So basically these are the plans. And yeah, I think I want to thank everyone who watched this episode till this time. Just we promise you we're going to have really exciting and brilliant material that will be brought up to the audience. And yeah, actually, I think we can finalize at this point.
Yeah, and once again, we thank everyone, and I hope we'll see you guys again in our next podcast.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah.
Woo!